Okay, sorry about that, guys. The video camera cut me off. But we were talking about the younger generation. We're on the second slide of the younger generation right now. The younger generation is religious, but they aren't beholden to the mullahs, like the Islamic mullahs. Strikes could end up uniting the younger generation to the older generation's political base if collateral damage was high. So let's say we go in with force or whatever, and we end up blowing up a lot of families, and they're not going to be too happy with us. It'd be better if we went in and, just took care of the things that were hurting us, which were obviously the nuclear facilities. The U.S. must do everything it possibly can to keep the moderates on our side. But it can never be at the expense of allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. That's just not even a possibility. That can't be a possibility at all. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, we have a U.S. objective here. The U.S. objective should be to contain the current generation using full engagement with the understanding that the Iranians cannot have a nuclear weapons program, as I just stated, and wait for the younger pro-U.S. generation who's more moderate and other moderates to come to power. And that's the whole objective here. And later I'm going to kind of go into the different things that are behind that. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, our main argument is that the U.S. definitely cannot rely on non-engagement. The time to contain and engage is definitely now. We have been doing this non-engagement thing for a while, and it's time to stop. It's definitely time to stop, and it's something that needs to be taken care of immediately. So the best approach we came up with was containment minus the common element of presupposing that Iran will eventually weaponize nuclear energy and commit to denying the Iranians a nuclear weapons program. So there's multiple parts to this, and it's not just, engage, like taking it from non-engagement to engagement. There's a lot more that goes into this. The main idea is that the U.S. Must rely on containment that is fronted by full engagement with options for limited rollback that are clearly communicated on the world stage. So that's our main idea. In obtaining this goal, Iranian youth, and this is on the next slide, Iranian youth like U.S. commercial goods and ideals, but they would not want them imposed on them. This is, ways that we can kind of keep them on our side. All peaceful means to delay while using soft power, so not coercion, but attraction, such as quiet support of pro-democracy movements must be used. And additionally, Iran democracy will not look exactly like Western democracy, but the U.S. must respect the indigenous product. These are ways that we can kind of move this type of policy that we're suggesting forward. And if you go to the next slide, we're going to kind of go into the reasoning for this. Non-engagement is definitely, it's what we've been doing, but it's the riskiest option, since refusal to engage would grant Iran free rein to accomplish any goal it wished to with impunity. So basically, it's like it says, Iran would have completely free rein to do whatever they wanted, and we'd have no idea because we're not engaged with them. Also, the U.S. would have to rely on Iran's trade partners to kind of take that role, and as far as that goes, keeping U.S. interests in mind would be completely lost, because we do have our interests over there and with them, and we can't count on anybody else to keep our interests in mind, considering no one else really is American. A lot of people seem to be anti-American, so we definitely need to keep our interests in mind in regards to this. And since some more reasoning, on another note, U.S. sanctions against Iran for 30 years have produced very few results. And, it doesn't really appear that they're going to anytime soon. They seem, if you look at the news lately, Iran seems to be very forward in what they're doing, and they don't give a crap about, what anyone thinks. They're just going to do what they want to do, and they're going to get it done as fast as they can. So, especially when it comes to the nuclear facilities. And so, obviously these sanctions really aren't working. Also, some more reasoning. Mohammed Ahmadinejad, Iran's president, is not rational at all. He's completely irrational and completely deceptive. So, he can't really be trusted, and we have to be involved in talking to him, even if it is deceptive things that we're talking about. At least there's talking going on there. His religious reasoning contains a need for widespread chaos and death. Obviously this is kind of Islam's background, so, he needs this. And this is why Iran can't ever be allowed to have a nuclear warhead, because, they need the chaos and death, and, if they have a nuclear warhead and they need chaos and death, you know exactly what they're going to do with it. So, so that's kind of some more reasoning why we need to go with this policy and not allow them to have a nuclear weapon. Iran does have a few response options when it comes to what they can do about this. First, they can, mine the Strait of Hormuz. Sorry if I say this wrong, but Hormuz. One question to this tactic is how long the Iranians can really afford to cut their own throats with it. It's just kind of, a little bit of a loss for them. Also, they could, and this is a little bit more dangerous, they could increase sponsorship of the terrorist acts activity. So, terrorism could increase, and that could be extremely detrimental to the rest of the world, not just America. And then a note that I'd like to include is that Iran, they didn't really turn out to be the menace they were feared to be when it came to dealing with Iraq. Also, they helped the U.S. in Afghanistan against the Taliban. So we do know they have that ability to work with us and, be softer about things and not be so gung-ho about, death to America and Israel. So because we know that about them, we can go in and start these talks and actually be engaged with them, and that would be really a good thing for us. And if you'd like to go to the next slide, we're going to start talking about just a few counter arguments in regards to our position, just so we can kind of cover some other things that are going on and any other questions that you guys might have. Engagement, there's different forms of engagement, and there's many forms of them. There's, bilateral and multilateral talks. We could ourselves talk to Iran, or we could get, an international, conference going or something. But, there can be an option of that. Also, there's encirclement of Iran by pro or at least neutral U.S. allies. That would also be an option, someone else might bring up. Also, there's, a willingness to offer economic incentives. We can say, we'll give you this much money, or we'll help you militarily, or, we'll just help you any way we possibly can. And the problem is that any of these forms would have to be verifiable